G'day, Saturday sports fans. Andrew Daddo's my name. This is Saturday Sports Shorts. It's brought to you by Milo, and I know Saturday sports are not happening at the moment, which is why we're getting together so we can still do some sporty things, some exercises. And the exciting thing today is we're going to be working on the upper part of the body. I want to introduce you to a couple of friends of mine. This is Jack. This is Hammer. Jack Hammer. That's correct. You see, this is how big my arm is now. By the time we finish, it's going to be like exciting. Upper body with one of the great Australians. What will you need? Well, first of all, a bit of space. So just look around. Make sure there's some room for you to move your arms about, maybe up a bit, maybe to the sides a bit. And ask Mum and Dad if they can find something a little bit heavier for you, maybe in the kitchen cupboard, maybe a can of beans or something. So just for a bit of weight, because you're going to be working out and you're going to be getting sweaty and you're going to be like working like it is a normal Saturday sports kind of day. All right, to our special guest, and he is an absolute beauty. His name is Kurt Fearnley. Now, you know Kurt because he's been to 5 Paralympics. He's won 3 Paralympic gold medals. He's won 2 Commonwealth gold medals. He's won 7 world championships. He's like one of the great competitors and the 2019 New South Wales Australian of the Year. G'day, Kurt. How are you going?
I'm going good, really well.
How are you working out in isolation? Are you staying fit?
I am trying to stay fit. I'm being very creative with the exercises that I do. Right there, I'm on my hand cycle. So that's my bike that I put onto a wind trainer, and I can do lots of kilometres inside my shed at home.
Well, look, we're in your hands today. We just want to know what it's like to be a world champion, a Paralympic champion, a Commonwealth champion, Australian of the Year champion. We just want to be champion, Kurt, and you're the right way to go. So we're going to do it in 3 steps. We're going to do warm-ups and then the heavy stuff, and then we're going to see a special skill from you as well. So let's start off by, let's get warm.
Well, today is definitely arm day. So I'm going to focus on your joints. So for the beginning, and we're going to start off with the hands, which means also your fingers and your wrists. So there's going to be 3 exercises in this little first part. One of them is going to be, we're going to be grabbing air like this. And the other part is going to be moving our wrists in circles, both directions. And I'm going to direct you which way to go and when to change. And the third one is going to be twinkling the fingers as well, which coincidentally is like giving a round of applause if you are hearing impaired. So if you are either from the deaf community or the hearing impaired community, that's giving everybody a big clap because we're doing so well. And we're going to get the clock up, and I will direct you in 3, 2, 1, and we're going to start with grabbing air. We're going to be grabbing air, and you can grab it out inside and make sure that you're not poking anyone. And we're going to switch to rolling the fists. So this is warming up the wrists and making sure that we don't hurt our wrist over the following exercise. And change directions. And we've only got the last bit is going to be to twinkle fingers, and we're giving everybody an applause as well. And this one is your shoulders. So the shoulders, what we're going to do is we're first going to do with our arms by our side, and this is just around, moving our shoulders around, and then we can change directions and move them forward. And then we're going to put our hands out like this and do little circles with our hands and get bigger, and then the other direction and start little as well and go backwards out to big. And we'll get the clock up. This is going to be another 30 seconds, and this is another warm-up for our shoulders, and we're going to be starting now. So start moving your shoulders backwards in circles and swap and go forwards, and then start to reach your arms up, start to move circles in the air, and we're stretching our fingers out as long as they can be and start to get those circles wider and bring them back in, and other direction. And the last little bit, we're going to go big again. And done. That's a warm up, but it's also there's a little bit of get sweaty already. So I know that it's going to be arm day today, but I think everyone's going to be tired all over by the end.
Just a fun fact on Kurt. Kurt's crawled the Kokoda track, which is 96 kilometres. It's one of the hardest walking tracks you can do. So if you're in primary school and you do cross country, that's 3 kilometres. It's like so Kurt, is the Kokoda track like doing 30 times the cross country track in primary school?
The Kokoda track is nothing like that. If you would crawl the entire part of your cross country and also have to crawl through mud with leeches and cuts and bruises and be a long way from your house and sleep in the mud that night, then maybe it gets a little closer to it.
Did you do it on a Saturday? Because if you did, Kurt, you could have been one of our Saturday legends. This is where we want to hear from you guys at home. Something that you did during Saturday sports that other kids can learn from or try not to do. And our sports legend today is a young lady named Ivy, and she is a soccer champion.
Hi, I'm Ivy, and my best moment is when I'm in the goal and someone's running at me and then they shoot a big hard kick and I dive down and save it.
All right, listen, we've had our warm-up with Kurt. Now I think it's time that we got sweaty.
For this part of it, it is going to work your heart rate. It's going to be building the engine. And I like to think of my engine, it's my heart and my lungs and also sometimes my brain, because my brain has to deal with some of the harder points in life. But the very first exercise is going to be what I call my fast and slow run. So I tricked you. It is arm day still, but what I'm talking about is your fast and slow run is you're doing the upper body movement. So it's like this is when you're going to go for a jog, and we might even throw walking pace in there as well, and then it's going to be a sprint as fast as you can, and we're going to go in 3 seconds, and we're going to start with our walk. Just ease it in, but we're only going to do a few seconds of the walk, and then we're picking it up to a jog. We're going to do the jog now for a little bit, and sprint as quick as you can, as quick as you can. This is getting your heart rate up really high, and go back to a jog for a second, and the last bit you need to run as fast as you can, which is now, and move those hands as quick as you can. Who would have thought jogging on your spot in a wheelchair would be so hard?
All right, what's next?
The next is shoulder lift, but this is going to be two different exercises during this. So first of all is the shoulder lift, which I'm going to get little weights. Mine are straight out of the cupboard, but I'm sure that your mum and dad can help you. And I'm going to use these to lift up in the air. And the other one is the opposite of that, the opposite movement of that. And that is going to be like a ladder pull. So you reach up, you grab, and you pull down. So we're going to go from shoulder lifts to ladder pulls. And starting with the shoulder press. And we're throwing these up in the air as quick as you can. Or if you've got a heavier weight, then you just got to lift them up however you can. And we'll try to get there halfway. So put them down. Now we're doing the opposite. We're doing those ladder pulls. Like we're climbing up the ladder, climbing. And I like to say that this is the engine builder like the last one. There we go. Because we're pushing our heart to beat as fast as it possibly can, because your heart is like a muscle that's going to grow and become more efficient and bigger and stronger to help you do lots of other stuff throughout the day. All right, we're into the lucky last exercise now. So this is the last part of the Get Sweaty. This is one of my favorite exercises as well. What we're going to be doing is push-ups. And there are different ways that each person can do a push-up. You can do a push-up on your toes, you can do a push-up on your knees, or you can do a special push-up like I'm about to do with your legs in the air. But to do that, I'm going to jump onto the ground. And like I said, your push-up at home, it can be with your knees on the ground like this. You can do it with your knees on a chair like this. Or you can do it with your legs in the air like this.
That's amazing.
But you can figure out which one works for you. I'm going to do all three during this one and see how many I can do through the 30 seconds. This one's going to get me very, very sweaty. If we can put the clock up. So we're doing push-ups with our knees on the ground. Knees on the ground, push-ups. Now, I've got my knees up on my chair, and I'll do. And the last one. Oh, this one's hard. Please, clock, keep going down.
How many push-ups can you do, Kurt?
Push-ups with my legs in the air. I know I can do 10 with both of my children on the back.
Wow. How old are you? How old are your kids?
They're 34 and 26. No, I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yeah,
hey, look, that involved in the exercise as well.
That is fantastic. You're going to show us your special Saturday skill in a moment, but we're going to work the brain a little bit now, Kurt. We've got a Saturday quiz. So everyone, this is the chance. If you're like not going so well in the physical stuff, here's a bit of a brain. It's not a big quiz. It's only 3 questions. So let's get to it. Saturday quiz. All right. Just getting ready. Here we go. Question 1. How fast can wheelchair racers travel while racing? This is their top speed. Is it A, 15 kilometres an hour, B, 20 kilometres an hour, or C, 30 kilometres an hour? What do you reckon? Sing out the answer. If you said C, you're right on the button. And that is 30 k's an hour. Like, that's just almost as fast as you're allowed to go in a school zone. That's amazing. Question 2. Which of these sports is not part of the Commonwealth Games? Is it A, 10-pin bowling, B, table tennis, or C, squash? Which is not part of the Commonwealth Games? The answer, A, B, and C. It was a trick question. They're all in the Commonwealth Games. They're all great sports. And finally, question 3, and this is, it's not a trick question, but it's a tricky question. An Australian named Andy Waite holds the world record for most power wheelchair spins in 1 minute. So that's in an electric wheelchair. How many times did he go around? Was it A, 57 spins, B, 120 spins, or C, 316 spins? What do you think? He's in a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, going round and round and round. 1 minute. The answer, B, 120 spins. And this is Andy Waite. This is amazing. This is Andy Waite doing the spins. Have a look at this.
One thing I love about my community, there are so many people with disabilities out there that just are so impressive, doing amazing things on a day-to-day basis that most people couldn't imagine were possible.
Hey, so that might be Andy's special skill, and I bet Kurt's got one as well. So let's get to it. Saturday skills. All right, Kurt, what have you got?
My special skill is all about flexibility. Of course, in wheelchair racing, like most sports, you've got to make sure that your joints and your tendons are as flexible as possible for as long as possible so that you can continue to play without causing damage. And this can help you be a better athlete at all different types of sport, because flexibility is across the board one of the most important things, even more important than strength. So the first stretch that I have is a back stretch, and this is more of your lower back, I guess. But it's starting in a position that you're on your knees, and what you're going to do is you're going to reach out as far as you possibly can, and then pull yourself forward and stretch out your lower back. You can drop your head if you want and stretch there. But you should be able to feel the stretch just below your shoulders and right in the middle of the back. And every stretch that you do, we should be holding them for about 15 seconds or so. The very last stretch is to stretch out your rhomboid, which is a muscle in the middle of your back, and it's on either side of your spine. And to get to it, some people just do this stretch, but it doesn't get right into the hard to access muscles. But they're also the muscles we use in wheelchair racing quite a lot. This one, you need to put your hand and your arm and your forearm at 90 degrees and then pull it, keeping the angle square all the way across your body. And we're going to hold that one as well for about 15 seconds.
Kurt, does it matter how you have your hand? I see you're sort of like moving your hand a bit, and I like moving my hand around a little bit. I feel like it just keeps that flexibility and the blood flowing to the fingers, and I just like to keep moving. And then we do the other arm, like I said, at 90 degrees and across here. Well, we should be doing stretches. We should be doing stretches at least once a day, either after exercise or sometimes just finding 15 minutes to sit down and do stretches before sport, or even on a day when you're not participating in sport at all. That's how important flexibility is. Flexibility is one of the most important skills to have. I like to think of it as a skill because it takes a lot of work to have if you want to remain in sport for a long period of time. Hey, listen, we've got some questions from some of the kids who are watching. So let me run these ones by you. And the first one is from Katie, who's 12 in Western Australia. How did you get to where you are today? Big question.
Oh, how did I get to where I was today? Look, when I was about 12 years old, I saw wheelchair racing and I just wanted to follow that path. I loved it. It was people in wheelchairs who were strong, who were fast, who were going faster than what I could have ever imagined a wheelchair going. And I started with that one little thought, that one little dream, and then I would spend a lot of time, maybe 20 years, seeing how far that would take me. And it was just an incredible journey. So much fun. Lots of really, really hard times. Lots of times where it was really challenging. But they're the days that are also sometimes pretty special, because the hard days, when you get over them, they actually mean a fair bit to you when they're on the other side.
This is from Callum, who's 11 in Victoria. What's the hardest part of a big marathon?
The hardest part is every marathon you're going to get to a point where you don't want to go any further, where your body is aching and your muscles are sore, and there will start to be a little bit of a voice to say you can't go any further. The hardest part is changing that voice into something that's strong, and making sure that voice is louder than any bit of pain. And it takes a long time to master that, but it's probably the hardest part about it, but it's also I think that's one of the most important parts about it, and the reason why I became quite good at that sport, because I become pretty good at that.
Do you say something in particular to yourself, or does it change all the time?
Oh, it changes a little bit. There are a few times that I would just say again and again and again, keep going. But then I would ask myself a question, and I would say, who are you? And I know who I am. I'm really strong. I'm really, really resilient, and I don't give up. I just keep going.
You definitely do not give up. Hey, Kurt Fearnley, thanks very much for being part of Saturday Sports Shorts.
Not a problem. I loved it. Take care.
Good on you, Kurt. He's a ripper. Kurt Fearnley, an Australian of the Year for New South Wales for 2019, and just a really great Australian. Hey, that's all we've got time for now. I've got a little challenge for you. Why don't you get your mum and dad and have a stretch out with them which is Kurt's special skill. See if you can stretch further than they can. If you want to watch this again, you can. You can watch it again and again and again. You just go to the YouTube, to Mamamia Kids YouTube page, and you can watch it over and over and do the exercises and listen to Kurt and be inspired and just have a nice time. Thanks for being part of Saturday Sports Shorts. It's brought to you by Milo. My name's Andrew Daddo. It's such a thrill to be here. We'll see you next week with another huge surprise guest.